Welcome to another episode of the What If podcast series, where we explore all sorts of alternative ideas to what we've been taught and what we've been dealing with. Today, we're going to be discussing fundraising, and we're going to be discussing different models of fundraising. In 2023, here at the CVO Institute, we came up with an idea which we thought would be a game changer, and we coined it AfricaGiving, where we thought, let's try to reduce our dependence on institutional funders, but begin to look more at individuals who could give. This was informed by a number of studies that we had seen that had been produced by others, our colleagues based in Dakar, Epic Africa, and many other studies that had shown that individuals are within and outside of Africa have a tendency and have a preference towards giving to causes that they align with. So we set up AfricaGiving, and as you can see today, we changed the script a bit. I'm the one who's hosting this show, and Nonsi is on the hot seat. So Nonsi, you're welcome.
Thank you, Doc.
Sure. So I'll start off by just saying, it's been since 2023, we launched this platform in November 2023 in Johannesburg, South Africa, and now we're in 2026. And since then, you've always been the coordinator. Besides hosting our podcast, you have been the coordinator of AfricaGiving. Just walk us through that journey. What has it been like to coordinate giving on that platform?
It's really been a learning journey, I'll say that. When I started working with AfricaGiving, we started with, the dinner in Joburg, but one of the major things that we did the following year in May was to run what we call the 100 for 100 campaign. And for me, that was the first time I now had to engage people individually to give to organizations, particularly non-profit organizations. And when I tell you that the experience is different from asking people to give to a person, but rather to an institution, the relationship was a bit, tense, to say the least, because people expect that, NGOs have money. Why would I, as an individual, pay an organization that pays people well? If you ever looked at the cars they drive, the houses they own. So having to change the narrative around that was something that I had to learn to do, to say, no, actually, at this juncture, we need your help. And then another thing that I learned during that period was that AfricaGiving at that point had about 104 organizations.
Yes.
And in total, we had about 26 thematic areas.
Sure.
And so now trying to sell 100 organizations to one person to say, oh no, you can go on the website and give to any of the 104. It's like, before I even go anywhere, they're like, it's a lot. Maybe you tell me what I should give to. So that was one of the lessons, learning to just then cut things down. These are the options that you can give to. And then follow up, because people would be like, oh, Nonsi will give. Yeah, absolutely. And then it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the person hasn't given. They're gone. So I'll start with those three major things. The engaging, changing mindsets. The second, telling people what they can give to, and then following up. So those are the three biggest things that I had to kind of make sure I tighten up.
And in all this, did you realize you were dealing with something new?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things, because we also started in Zim, Zim is a money economy. So cash economy. Sorry. Okay. Yes, Doc. Cash economy. Zim is a cash economy. So AfricaGiving is an online fundraising platform. As much as you might have your mobile money, the use of a Visa card, people actually preferred to give in cash. But one of the lessons that we then learned is that other countries are okay with giving Visa. Although you have to grow the trust, it was balancing those two elements.
Okay. Back to the 100 for 100 campaign. I think it was a failure. Your thoughts?
I'm two minds about it.
Okay. What was the intention when you say 100 for 100? What were we trying to do?
It was to get 100 people to give $100 towards any of the organizations that are on AfricaGiving.
Okay.
I would say it was a failure in the sense that we didn't necessarily get all 100 people to give $100.
Okay.
But did we meet our target of raising $10,000? Yes, but not in the way that we had imagined.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying I'm two minds about it. I got the money, but not in the way that I had planned to get the money.
Does that change how you think of programming, how you think of fundraising, those experiences from the 100 for 100?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that I've grown to know over time is relationships.
Okay.
When we were running that campaign, going to someone that you don't know to ask for $100 was a bit of a long haul, right?
Okay.
But Now that we are here, it's like, okay, it's over time we've built relationships. So it's easier to be like, oh, you gave to those children. This is what happened the last time you gave. So would you mind giving again?
Okay.
But because it was the beginning, it really did then change my mindset to say, yes, they've given, but what happens post this?
Okay, so they need to have sort of repeated giving. Is that happened now?
For some, yes. It has happened for some people who've given. Others are a once-off, I'm going to give and I really don't want to see you again. This is my $100 and I'm done with my good deed for the next 2 years. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very important. So I think we sort of have pressed a pause, then we're coming back again. Can you just walk us through that journey of reflection and the new platform, et cetera, why did we do what we've been doing?
Sure. So initially on the AfricaGiving platform, we listed organizations. It was the name of the organization, a list of 100. You could then kind of filter by country, by thematic area, but that was a lot for someone. There was no storytelling on the platform. You had to go and read a paragraph that was written, no pictures, no like beneficiary stories per se. So it made it difficult because people are looking, it's almost looking like a spreadsheet of names, which wasn't as engaging. So the journey coming back to our launch at the moment is to look at actually what does an emotionally appealing website look like? Because giving is around emotions.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that look like? What would I want to see? What pictures would resonate with people who want to give? What stories do we want people to find on the platform? What colors? It was down to the actual colors. Yes, these are our colors, but what does it mean? What kind of story do we want to tell with that? And then also finding out who are we targeting with the website?
Sure.
Are we targeting people who are working? Are we targeting teenagers? Are we targeting people who are pensioners? That also comes into play. And if someone comes onto the website, what is the first thing that they see?
Okay.
It's first impressions.
Tell me, how long did that take you?
Oof. It was quite a journey. We had someone walk with us through this journey. It was about 6 months of us meeting every week and having to do some homework around that. So when we talk about colors, like, okay, tell us, what does green stand for, orange stand for? When you are looking at your font has something to do with how people respond to your website. So we had to look at that. And then we had to look at in our targeting, what does the person work? Are they employed? Where do they live? What kind of hobbies do they have? So in all of that, it's like, what do words mean when we put them, when we say impact? What does that mean to you, Tendai, as you're giving? So all of that, really bringing it together, culminating to a more clearer website, took us quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it's the power of framing a story and the power of sort of how do you attract others to it. There are quite a number of things that I've seen that I knew on the platform. But I just want to, before I go to that, I just want us to talk about the typical giver. Who's that person who say, from your experience as the coordinator, who's the most likely person to give on the platform? Age, sex, where they're based, etc., etc.
Okay, so we are looking at middle class, not in a disrespectful, but educated middle class. It's gone to university. There's the cause that resonates with them, either because of experience, either because they've come across something similar, or they've done it before. So that's the type of person then that you'd find, and someone who's tech savvy, so to say. They're okay with using their card online. They're okay with giving through either their phone or their laptop. To give using their card online. Does that speak to a demographic group? Is that Gen Zs, is that millennials, or even people like me born before computer? I think people like you are less likely to give because they don't trust online platforms because of scammers and all these stories that go around people losing their money online. So you'd find mostly millennials, Gen Z, but millennials also sometimes can be a little, they hold back a bit.
So how does the platform assure somebody that your money is going to where it's supposed to go? That this is not just another scam?
So currently on our website, what we've done is you will see a 97% that you see that the money that you give is definitely going to go to an organization of your choice. But also what we've done, we use a payment gateway that is certified. So it's not CVOs necessarily running that, and there's security parameters around that. So that makes sure, and you also get a receipt when you give your money. So if you gave your money and you didn't get a receipt, there's definitely something wrong. We flag that. But you get instant communication once your money has gone through to the website.
Do we connect the givers to the eventual recipient organization?
Yes. So the journey is, if you gave on the AfricaGiving website, you would choose whether you want to give to AfricaGiving as a whole or you want to give to a specific organization. When you give to that organization, you will get a receipt from us as AfricaGiving, and then also we alert the organization that has been given, and they will contact you to thank you for your gift. And then what we're also trying to incorporate is that you get reports for this is how your money was used as you have given to the organization of your choice.
So beyond the platform, what else have we done to the organizations that are listed? Just walk us through what it means to be listed.
So I had mentioned initially that we had 104 organizations.
Exactly.
We did have what we call a compliance score, and we had allowed those that necessarily didn't reach the full potential of the compliance score, which is 5 things that we look at. Is your organization registered? That's number 1. Do you have financial statements or audited statements? Are you available online? Do you have a strategy for your organization? So
and does the board meet regularly?
Does the board meet regularly? So those are the 5 areas that we looked at. So each organization will then be given a score based on that. When we were then rebranding, we saw that transparency and credibility and accountability is something that we really wanted to hold as one of our values. We then said, if you cannot meet the 5 out of 5 compliance score, unfortunately for this season, we cannot have you on the platform. So now we have then gone down to about 43 organizations on the platform, and all of them reach the 5 out of 5 compliance score.
But what are we doing with the organizations that we're to let go? Are we helping them to achieve the full compliance score?
So we are engaging them. We had then told them that as soon as you are able, because some of the things that they were missing, for example, the organizations are small. So for a small organization, that's not getting enough funding. For them to get an auditor to come and then audit their statements, that was a bit of a challenge for them. We did try to look at an angle of getting accounting firms to see if they would be willing to do it pro bono for those organizations as a way of giving. So that's kind of the ways that we've been trying to help them. Unfortunately, when it comes to registration, that's something that is on their side to kind of handle. And then we're hoping that continuously as we check with them that they would have been able to then attain that status.
Fantastic. As long as we're not leaving them in the cold, that we're putting together measures to help them to come to a full compliance score. I want to go back to the platform. I see there are 2 major changes from the previous platform, the previous iteration. So maybe let's call this one AfricaGiving 2.0. I see that we never used to have corporates. Now we have added corporates. And you can walk us through why we're now talking to corporates. Then I also see that the previous one was just a listing of organizations, but this one, there are also causes that you have flagged. You can just walk us through the thinking behind those 2 changes.
Sure. So initially we mentioned that at some point we had about 26 thematic areas. And in order to make the giving experience better for the giver, we then grouped them into 3 areas. I call them the 3 Ps that we have. So we have planet, poverty, and people. So in those areas, for example, if you went to people, you would then look at areas of livelihoods. Can we give towards water? Can we give towards sanitation? Can we give towards education? Of which we are running a campaign in May.
Yeah, we want to talk about that.
Up until June. Yeah, we'll come back to that. I won't jump the gun.
Sure.
So one of the things that we've done is to make it easier. What are you passionate about, Tendai? Do you want to support the climate change, climate rights type of thing? Do you want to focus on children, women? Do you want to focus on livelihood, sanitation, and so forth? So it makes it easier for someone to come to the platform. Oh, I'm interested in this, and I can click on that. And then also what we've done is we have stories from the different organizations. So for example, if you chose AfricaGiving, right? Or Seaview Institute, rather. If you chose Seaview Institute, you would have a story on Seaview Institute. What do we do? What can you support on there? And you can get in touch with us because there's also contact details for the actual organizations that are there. There are pictures now. Happy days. You can actually see the work that we are doing. So I'm not sure if I covered everything that you had asked.
No, that's it. That's the causes, but you have not told us why we now have a page for corporates.
Oh yes, the page on corporates. So one of the things that we are finding as we look at local resource mobilization is that corporates play an important role in what we are trying to do, what we call development, community development. So we are trying to bring them on as partners so that they also engage, because they have corporate social responsibility that they do. So we're also trying to help organizations to engage with the organizations, or companies rather, that work within their centers of influence. So on the platform, it's how can you as a corporate make your contribution to improving poverty or alleviating poverty. How can you make a contribution to taking children to school? How can you make your contribution towards supporting girls and women?
So we're expecting corporates to also click a button and use a card to give? Or there's a different mechanism?
There's a different mechanism for corporates. Corporates are based on relationships. So it's also coming in to say, and also because the gifts that they give are way bigger. So for us to ask a corporate to give 20,000 through a card is not the best way to do it.
Sure.
So when we engage them one-on-one, they also have needs. How can we meet each other in the middle? As a corporate, you have your CSR. Which organizations can we link you with? What are your values that you're looking for? What are your key areas? And then that way we can have a discussion and meet halfway in a way that your giving helps you as an organization, but also is making a difference in the organization that you're giving to.
Yeah, I don't want the viewers and even the listeners who are listening on the audio platforms just to think that you are just thumb-sucking around corporates. Maybe you can walk us through the experiences we've had with the offshoot of AfricaGiving that we call the We Are One Fund. So you can just briefly, take us through corporate engagement and the support you have received from corporates around that.
That has been quite a learning journey. So We Are One Fund is a sister platform to AfricaGiving. With the We Are One Fund, we started in July in 2025, and now we are here in 2026, May 2026. And it's been incredible the amount of corporates that have come on board, giving. Some have chosen to give monthly, giving $1,000 towards a specific organization. Some have given once off, some have given in kind. We had one that actually put in a solar system for one of the organizations that are listed on the We Are One Fund.
I always say solar heating system or solar lighting, because solar system exists already.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Doc.
Yeah.
So a solar, would I call it that's not a heating system.
It's a heating and lighting system.
Heating and lighting system. So a solar and heating and lighting system for one of the shelters that are run by the organization, one of the organizations listed on the We Are One Fund. We've had corporates that have pledged as much as $50,000 towards specific organizations. So that for us has opened our eyes to say there is hope. And there is a fruit that comes from engagement with corporates. And if we can then leverage that to teach the organizations on AfricaGiving to explore that in their different countries. We have 17 countries that are represented on the website. So we are hoping that our lessons that we've learned from the We Are One Fund can then be taken into AfricaGiving as well.
So We Are One Fund is purely Zimbabwe focused?
Purely Zimbabwe
and
focused.
Responding to GBV?
Yes.
Gender-based violence. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Now I want to, just in conclusion, you mentioned that there's a campaign already running on AfricaGiving. It's on education. Just take us through why education, why now, and what are you hoping to achieve?
I'll start by saying annually we have our campaigns that are run around Africa Day. And so as we were changing our platform, we also changed our strategy. The last two campaigns that we did, we had said 100 for 100 to any organization on the platform. The second one was 25 for 25 May, which is Africa Day, to any of the organizations. But this year, we thought to also group our campaigns so we have them quarterly. So we chose education because for the month of May and June, we have days that commemorate the youth, that commemorate students, young people. So we thought one of the major keys to bringing about development within Africa is around education. And so we chose education for this particular quarter so that we can push that agenda. And we have organizations that support education on AfricaGiving, and we have 19 of those. So from those 19 spread across 9 countries, we thought it would be good to just spread it across, because sometimes the campaign is 1 month and you don't get the mileage that you'd want. So we said we'll spread it over May and June, to make sure that as we commemorate those days, we are also putting out the word that anybody can support a student with just $30.
Okay.
And make sure that they're in school for the term.
But what's the minimum amount that one can give using AfricaGiving?
I think you can give as low as $1.
Okay.
You can give as low as $1. Not that I think. You can give as low as $1, but we encourage people to kind of strengthen their philanthropy spirit.
Okay. All right. All the best with the education campaign. But just in conclusion, if I'm on AfricaGiving, which cards can I use?
Okay, so you can use your Visa card, you can use your MasterCard as well. You can, if you are in Zim, we have our mobile money as well, which is your EcoCash, One Money. And then for those, we do use PayPal as well, if you would prefer that and you find that easier. But with that one, we have to be more specific. Which organization are you giving to? Because when your money then comes in, it just comes in as $10. But we don't know, for example, but we don't know which organization you're giving to. So then that communication then needs to be very clear.
I think we need to connect with our friends in Kenya and add M-Pesa.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah, that's they need that. They just think that's the only payment platform that exists in the world. Yeah. Anyway, any parting words? So I'm as somebody who was just listening in and trying to understand what you guys have been up to. I've learned a lot. Maybe I missed some questions I should have asked you. Just go ahead and answer.
All right, so I think my parting shots would be, please do explore our website. It's www.africagiving.org, and we encourage you to jump in. Our mandate is to build philanthropy for our organizations that are responding to issues within our areas of work or where we live. So it's not to say because they are nonprofits that they have all the money they need. You have a part to play, and we're encouraging you, especially during this May and June season, to pick up a child that you can pay school fees for.
Yeah, so I still have another question. After education comes what?
So towards the end of the year, we have one that we are focusing on women and girls, because we have the International Day of the Girl Child, and then straight after that we have the 16 days of activism around against gender-based violence. And then this the third quarter we are looking at youth. Okay.
Fantastic. There you have it, folks. AfricaGiving is back. It's www.africagiving.org. The idea really is simple and yet very important. The idea is we can fund our own revolution. We can fund our own development. We can be masters of our own destiny by the simple act of giving. And the giving that we're talking about here is not unique, is not new. We've always given towards causes. Even in our liberation struggles spread across Africa, we're beneficiary of individual gifts. So we're just bringing this back and leveraging technology to say you can take advantage of existing tech platforms. You can come to ours. We can help you push your gift. And I think Nonsi forgot to mention that we don't charge for any of this. We don't charge for these gifts. We just help to amplify and to make visible organizations that are working on the front lines or the core face of change towards making sure that they are sustainable. Funding is a huge issue across many nonprofits at the moment, and we're doing, in a small way, we're doing whatever we can to help out. Thank you again. This is the What If podcast series, and I am Tendai Murisa with Nontsikelelo Nzula.
To subscribe, you can look for What If We Think Differently on Spotify. You can also look for What If We Think Differently on Apple Podcasts. On YouTube, you will find us on Cvio TV. To stay up to date with all our episodes, don't forget to subscribe.